Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today we are here with WCW star, Mr. Brad Lodi Cain over here, Hanahan, South Carolina. We're at Oldschool Championship Wrestling. Lodi, how does it feel to be able to come back, be able to compete? You know, you had a rough year, you had a lot of health issues, you know, you kicked its ass. You're back here in the ring doing what you love. What does it feel like to be back here?
You know, for the first time in over a year, to be back here in Hanahan with Oldschool Championship Wrestling, a place I've been since 2007 on a consistent basis. I've been here for a long time, and so to come back and see some of these fans after not being here for a whole calendar year is pretty special to be able to come back and do what I was able to do tonight, especially after what I went through last summer.
You know, this is an indie promotion that has a lot of hype around it, and for good reason. You know, there's a lot of stars that start off here. You know, you have a bunch of you guys who've been in the business for years who are here as well. What makes this place so special?
If I used any word other than family, I'd be wrong, because the promoters, Joe, said they make you feel like family here from day one until today. You know, it's the camaraderie in the back and the way the boys all kind of meld together is awesome. So it's always a good environment. It's a good time to come down here. It feels like work, but I'd probably do it for a whole lot less money.
No, you're over at WCW. You had some great times there. Obviously, you were big buddies of Raven over there. You were part of the flock.
Yeah, the flock.
What does Raven mean to you? What was that all like? What was that experience like?
I could talk all night long about Raven, because no one in the business had a bigger influence on my life and my career than Raven did, because much of what you saw on TV, some people don't know this, we played that role in real life. I was his personal trainer and his personal assistant for a while before I started on TV. So we carried a lot of our real life stuff over onto TV. But the things he did for me along the way to not only open doors, but to teach me and mentor me the way he did, I could never repay him. If I had all the money in the world to give to him, I could never repay Raven for what he did.
Is it true this all started from talking to him at a bar?
It did start in a bar. One of my good friends wanted to go say hello to him because he knew him and I didn't. He said, let's go say hello to Raven. And Raven had just come down from ECW. And I was at the power plant at WCW, but hadn't been on TV yet. And I'm like, dude, I don't know Raven. I'm not going over there. And so my friend wants to talk to him, and he comes back. He goes, hey, Lodi, Raven wants to meet you. I'm like, what? Why does Raven want to meet me? And it turns out he was looking for a personal trainer, and that's what I did after I got out of college, before I started wrestling on TV. So I started working with him, helping train him in the gym, and the next thing you know, I'm on TV and I'm part of the flock.
You know, you're part of WCW at the time. It was the Monday Night War. I mean, their wrestling was like the thing. If you didn't watch wrestling, you're a loser at the time.
Yeah.
What was that like? How much pride did you take on representing WCW?
You know, to this day, I still sell some of the pictures, obviously, from when I was at WCW. And to have fans come up and to be like, oh, that's the Lodi I remember, because that's what I saw on TV, and see one of the old Lodi pictures with the blonde hair and the Billy Idol gimmick, you know, that's always cool. But what's even cooler is some of the young kids come and go like, Lodi, I saw you on the network. And so some young kids are watching the old stuff, and to be over with those kids, that's pretty cool too.
All right, last question, Lodi. You know, the indie scene, there's a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made. You and some other guys here are fortunate enough to wrestle in some of the biggest promotions in the world. How do you try to help some of these young guys navigate the sacrifices and the struggles during this phase of their career?
You know, I have a wrestling school back in Matthews, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, and I tell the kids this all the time. I have been privy to watching a lot of guys from North and South Carolina in this area start on the indie shows and make it. When I say make it, they got a contract working on TV. 99 times out of 100, every one of those guys were always the hardest workers. They were making the 13-hour drives to do a show. They were doing a show on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and Sunday night. They made the biggest sacrifices and sucked it up and said, I'm going to make it. And that's one of those things, you've got to have that kind of mentality, that kind of attitude. Nobody's going to give you anything. It's a very competitive business. And for the guys that I know, like John Schuyler, who I wrestled tonight, John Schuyler used to come watch me wrestle on indie shows when he was in college, and was trained by Bob Keller and worked with me some and rode the roads with me. To see him at TNA and to see him do so great, it's a dream come true for me. That's what I tell my kids at school. I'm like, I've already been there, done that. I want every one of you to go further than I ever did.
Well, Lodi, it's a pleasure to talk with you, my man. I'm glad that you're in good health.
Yes.
That's Lodi. I'm Carlo Prusa. Stick around.